Hello and welcome to another episode of Rampage Reviews. I'm Rampage, and with the upcoming release of the Master Grade Shenlong, I thought I'd be taking a look at the High Grade Shenlong today, seeing as in a month's time, interest in this model is probably gonna be taking a nosedive. This model was released in 1995 for 1,500 yen. I paid 11 euros and 60 cents. That's not counting shipping over at Hobbylink Japan, although you'd pay less today due to their permanent 20% decrease in prices. Here we have the sticker sheet. As usual, we get a sticker for the eyes, and there's also a set of Dragon Fang eyes. You get blue stickers for the shoulders and several gold ones to go around the chest. There's a little green triangle on the chest and a white one for the crotch. You get two clear green gems to go on the front of the shoulders, and then you get two silver stickers that go underneath clear plastic pieces for the back. And if you want it to look like it does in the box, you'll need to paint the red in the V-fin and some gray and white on the feet. So for color, the Shenlong gets a 7. Okay, first off we have the shield. It's just two blue pieces with a gold piece on top. We have a peg on the back of the shield here that just plugs into the indent in the arm, and it just holds like that. Very easy. The beam glaive consists of two gray parts and a clear green effect part. There's a gray part on the back with a slot to hold the beam glaive, and it's a very secure connection. Now, getting Shenlong to hold the weapon can be a bit tricky because the hand joints are just way too weak. So if you want it to be a bit more stable, you might want to have him hold onto it with both hands. So for accessories, Shenlong gets a 7.5. Well, this thing isn't a master grade, and it is about 16 years old now, so you can be expecting a lot of mechanical detail. There are no pistons, nothing like that anywhere. However, as with all Gundam Wing kits, you get panel lines. Lots of them, especially on the legs. They're everywhere, and some of them are pretty shallow, making it pretty difficult to properly panel line them. So for detail, Shenlong gets a 6. The head can move up and down a bit, and it can rotate until the back of the head hits the top of the chest. The left shoulder can move up and down a little bit. The arms can move out about that far. They can bend, not quite 180, and then the hands are on ball joints, so they just wiggle a little bit. The knees bend about 90 degrees. The tips of the feet can actually go down quite a bit, and the ball joint allows the feet to move front to back and side to side. And obviously the torso can do a full 360. Unfortunately, the limited articulation means you won't be able to pull off that many action poses. Adding an action base to the equation doesn't really do that much. I mean, this thing was never intended for aerial combat, so even those few aerial poses you get out of it are just not really worth it. So for posability, I'm afraid I'm gonna have to give the Shenlong a 4.5. Now for the Shenlong's main gimmick, we're gonna start out by removing the hand, and then we're gonna fold down the dragon head and the fang on the underside of the arm, and then it's just a matter of straightening out all of the tiny little joints in the arm, which can be a bit tricky because there are a lot of them, and it should look something like this when you're done. We also get some clear green effect parts that go on the sides of the Dragon Fang. Now, the joints in the Dragon Fang arm are a bit weak, and unless you get it just right, it tends to droop over time, but with these parts added on, it's just hopeless. It's not a matter of days, but seconds before it falls to the ground. So for gimmick, Shenlong is getting a 5. The light gray color that's used instead of white and the amount of stickers just don't do this guy's look a lot of good. It's a bit chunky around the waist, and somehow it just doesn't capture the sleek look that the Shenlong had in the anime. That being said, however, for a 16-year-old model, it does look pretty good, and as long as you don't put it on your shelf next to a recent master grade, it shouldn't look too out of place in your collection. So for looks, this Shenlong gets a 6.5. Yes, this thing has a lot of issues, most of them being located in his right arm, but if you get it in just the right pose, it does look pretty awesome, and it is a pretty low price for a 1/100 model, so you can't really go that wrong with this guy. It's just a matter of how much you like Gundam Wing, or in general, or just this Shenlong. Now, when I got this guy, I just assembled him right out of the box, and I didn't use any stickers because I was planning on doing that with paint, and it looked really, really boring standing on my shelf like that. And it was only after I painted in those details a few months later that I really came to like this guy. I mean, before that, I really didn't like it at all. It was really gray and boring, and the looks aren't perfect, but they're pretty decent, and well, I think you could do a lot worse than this guy. Now, seeing as this is my opinion, I'm just gonna go by my gut feeling and give this guy a 7. So it's time to give the Shenlong its final grades, and with the average of its previous scores, we get a 62.1%, and that places him at number 2 in the 1/100 non-master grade top 5. And seeing as I've only reviewed 1/100 non-master grades so far, the Gunpla top 5 looks exactly the same. So that about wraps things up for the high grade 1/100 Shenlong, and I'll see you guys at the next Rampage reviews.